Earlier this year, Dunedin Police launched the Just One Punch campaign aimed at stopping alcohol-fuelled violence in the city. It was prompted by a fatal incident locally in which a man died after being punched once in the head. Constable Shelley Phair, who led the campaign, joins us to discuss how it's been received. Good evening.
Hi.
Tell us a little bit about this campaign.
Right, so basically it's a campaign based around just one punch. Believe it or not, I developed this campaign before the campaign in Australia was launched, which was One Punch Kills. We originally had that name, One Punch Kills, but we decided to change it to just One Punch and actually wrap some educational material and some tools around it. So we actually give a wider message, and instead of just one punch kills, it's actually, one punch has a range of consequences. So, as you said before, it's all based around a DVD in which a local man was killed at McDonald's in 2011. From that DVD, we have the offender from that talking, and then as well as the victim's family. And so it's quite a moving, quite an emotive sort of short piece, and it's that piece has been received particularly well, actually.
How has the campaign been received?
Really well. We've actually been into quite a few different areas. So we've been into the schools for a start. So you've got the those young sort of males and females, and from there it's been received really well, especially by by those young people that actually don't understand that sort of consequences that a punch can have. As well as we've been into probation, and which is a totally different audience, and it has a totally different message. So they've sort of come away from it going, well, that's something that I can teach, the younger generation, or it's someone, I can teach, my family or my friends, which has been really interesting, actually. And the Brain Association as well has actually, the National Brain Injury Association, has picked up on it. Yeah.
Who specifically was the target of the campaign?
Well, it was originally 16 to 24-year-old males. It's become very obvious that females have a huge role to play as well. And I'm not talking about just being a victim or an offender, but being a bystander. They're an integral part of being able to stop incidents from happening, and that's the main, that's what we're trying to teach, is to prevent, these issues from happening.
What activities have been associated with the campaign? So
we started off with the initial launch in February with the Otago Poly team, and we sort of spread it around university in that week, orientation week time frame, and then we had a couple of appearances on 7 Sharp and Breakfast, and Brad Thorne and Monty Beetham have come on board as well, and so they're really pushing our message as well.
Have you noticed that members of the public are more aware of the effects of one punch?
I think from who we've actually targeted and who we've shown this this campaign to, most definitely. Really interestingly, you'll start at asking the question, what are the consequences, and you'll get, oh, maybe someone can be knocked out, and by the end they're actually coming up with a whole lot of other consequences as well.
How can a fatal punch affect those left behind?
I think we see it really in Steve and Carol Radnotti's story, which we show, and not only is it Steve, is it Carol and the family left behind being, the biggest victims, but it's also from, it's really important to remember that the offender and his family, while not being victims, they have, there's a lot of emotion caught up in that as well. Yeah.
What would you like to see people do when they are involved in a potentially violent altercation?
Well, like I said before, we're actually putting a lot of educational tools around it. So we've got a number of options for young people to do. So one's walk away. That's the biggest. Another one is if those getting those bystanders there and actually telling them to divert the situation or to divert the attention somewhere else. I think that's really important. Bystanders have a huge role to play. Yeah.
How can other people help to spread the message of the campaign?
Well, we've got our website all up and running now. It's www.justonepunch.org.nz, and it has everything that we've created on it. So it has all the DVDs that you can view on there, and as well as posters and our teaching resource. So it'll tell you all about the campaign. I mean, social media is a huge one. So if you can share that website link, then that would be fantastic. Talk about it with your children. Make it a discussion point. I think that's really important.
Constable Shelley Phair, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.